Welcome back to Thrive America. I'm your host, Brent Brooks. I'm joined by Chris Spears of Arke Systems, a kind of a regional website development firm here. And not only websites, but they do key customized software solutions for your business. Chris, thanks once again for coming on our show. And we've talked a lot so far about website, creating a website, how you can maximize that content with some free applications out there, using some social media such as LinkedIn and Facebook, and really coming up with some key strategies on these social media platforms. In our last segment, we talked about some CRM systems, customer relationship management systems that you can use for a fee that can help you organize all of your leads and all of your sales processes. So now we're going to talk a little bit about SEO and SEM. Help me understand what this is.
Yeah, it usually gets all lumped together with how Google finds you.
Okay.
So SEO is search engine optimization, and SEM is search engine marketing. And the difference there is you pay for SEM, and SEO is what you can do to your website to make sure that Google finds you. Mm-hmm. Along those lines, if you think about SEO, it's what you see in the title bar when you load the website. What's the content on the website? That's what Google's looking for. They want, when somebody does a search, to be able to provide a site that has relevant information to that search higher up the list. When you get over to the SEM side, you might have identified an area where you're not going to promote that on your website, but it's keywords that you want to be associated with when someone searches. So for SEM, you're going to pay to be associated with those words. And if you think about the way Google is laid out, you've got 2 ads across the top, and then maybe an ads down the side, and then it's that center section that's the organic side. Mm-hmm. So SEM is those top 2 sections, and SEO is that center section.
The strategy behind SEO is interesting to me, because I think a lot of people might think because they have a flashy website, mm-hmm. they're going to get the business.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about the dangers of using a whole lot of flash, or is there a solution where you can use some flashiness and so forth?
You've got to keep the flashiness in there. That's what engages the client. But at the same time, there are tags that you have to apply to, pictures and images, to video that allows Google to read it. So if you think about it, Google isn't a group of people looking at your website and recording what's on there. They have a piece of software that goes out and tries to understand what the website is all about. And unfortunately, it doesn't really pick up what's inside of a movie or on a picture. It can't tell what that is unless you identify that in other ways. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing to think about is, the keywords you want to be associated with. Make sure they're somewhere on your homepage. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you have sprinkled them throughout the rest of your site and the content that you have. Mm-hmm. If you're a CPA, mm-hmm. Don't put CPA all over the place. Put accounting. Put some of the problems that you solve. Mm-hmm. How do I handle taxes in 2009? Mm-hmm. It might be something that you put on your homepage, because that's what people are going to search for. Mm-hmm. In addition, there's tools out there that kind of help you understand what people are searching for. Mm-hmm. Google has one. It's called Google Trends. Mm-hmm. You can go to Google Trends and you type in what you think would be a great search word for your business, mm-hmm. and it'll tell you that no one's ever searched for that term. Mm. So you can kind of pick and choose through there to see, these are the keywords that people are searching for. Let's put those on our website. Let's make sure that we're known for those things, mm-hmm. because those are the active searches.
A question about keywords. Are keywords things that a website developer puts into the fabric of a site, or the keywords, we should use those keywords that we find on Google Trends into a sentence on our website?
Both.
Oh, okay.
So they're definitely embedded into the fabric, but they're also part of what you're saying on your website. Mm-hmm.
So the Google robots, mm-hmm. will locate what's written on your website, mm-hmm. and they might see something that a developer put in on the back end. Is that something that the Joomla can?
Those systems support that. .NET Nuke does allow you to enter in. It's called metadata. Okay. So it's keywords and descriptions and information that's associated with the website, but isn't something that's visible in the web browser.
You mentioned Keyword Spy. Is that another?
Yeah, this is an interesting tool. What Keyword Spy is, you go there, and if you've identified any competitors, you can type in keyword. You go to Keyword Spy and you type in their domain and you run a search, and it'll tell you the keywords that your competitors think are important. So this can be used for 2 purposes. You can either try to compete on those keywords, or you can look for white space in what they think is relevant and try to fill those gaps.
Wow. So with the idea of Thrive America, SEO, somebody might be watching this and they don't have a clue on how to do keywords into the website. I think this might be something you might have to hire someone to help you initially get started with implanting keywords into the fabric of your website if you don't have any experience. If you get a system like Joomla, which we mentioned in a prior segment, which is the website development tool, you might be able to see where you can add meta tags and so forth like that. But it's probably a good investment of your time to maybe hire an SEO expert just to maybe take a look at your site just to get you set up. Because if you do that, maybe they can train you and show you a couple key things to keep you going in the right direction.
Right. Anybody you work with is going to kind of should give you an overview of what they're going to do for your site. And then that's something that you could carry forward if you don't go for a long-term retainer. In addition to, the number one thing to think about when you're thinking about SEO is that it's not instantaneous. SEO is organic optimization. You know, you're going to grow slowly. You don't make these changes and then the next day you're number one on Google, because Google also kind of compares how long you've had that keyword. You know, there's so many other factors to calculate in there. It's a slow process, but once you're in that once you're on that first page, things couldn't be better for you.
I got you. And then I think one nice thing about someone who does SEO professionally is the rules are always changing on Google.
Right.
How they're calculating popularity of a website, and someone who's professional will kind of know the trends.
They'll stay up on the trends for how they're figuring that out.
But there's things that you can do without necessarily hiring someone right now that you can go. Chris mentioned google.com/trends and see what are some of the keywords that you can apply to your industry. Keyword Spy is a great application. Sounds like I'm going to give that a go. All right, so Chris, thanks so much for joining us on Thrive America. And before we go, tell us again how someone might get in touch with Arke Systems.
You can find us on the web at www.arkesystems.com. You can also email me, Chris, at arkesystems.com, and answer any kind of questions that come up, or even sit down and talk through some of the things that we've discussed here at our office.
So contact Chris, especially if you have a need for some high-end software applications. But like Chris said, if you've got any questions about what we talked about today, I'm sure Chris would love to talk to you and see if there's any way that Arke Systems can be a solution for your business. Thanks so much for tuning in to Thrive America, and we'll see you next time.